What's going on, teamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast, the one and only Digimon Card Game podcast, where you can come to find the hottest takes about the Digimon card game, whether they're right or wrong, but most times they're right. You will be in for a fun time as I, Varney, am here with my co-host, DGU Dan, and we're going to talk about today if side decks, or sorry, not side decks, we're going to talk about side decks. We're going to talk about if generic engines are good for the Digimon card game. But before we talk about that, we're going to talk about that thing we always talk about. If you're a longtime listener, you already know what's coming up. This is like a talk show at this point. You know, when you tune into your favorite talk show, they always got that thing they talk about first. And for us, it's locals. Dan, how is locals?
Not as good. Just because I didn't do as well. But somehow I got second place still, which is funny as AF.
Damn, he said he didn't do as good and he still got second place. That's crazy.
Yeah. Quite funny. Because the person that runs the tournament did the Bandai app wrong. And so it was just basically win, lose, or draw. There was no like 2-1-0 that you could put on.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So basically it's like a best of one. It shows up as your app or whatever.
It shows up as a 1-0 instead of a 2-0 or a 2-1.
No, not even. It doesn't even show that. It just says legit just win, lose, or draw. It was weird.
Oh.
So I guess that's for like the best of ones or something. I don't know. Very weird. But anyways, you're here on there. I played Millenniumon again because I wanted to try Attack out. Nothing crazy. It was just Revival of Darkness. Because the idea of it is cool. So basically what you do is you get Machine Digimon out. You play, you pop the machine, play out Chimeramon, Machine Digimon's effect, you DNA to Millenniumon. And so
Millenniumon!
Depending on what you got, you could gain a bunch of memory, and then you could gain memory off of Millenniumon's DNA effect too. So you keep turn, do another 2 checks or whatever. So like the go-to play would be swing a Machine Digimon, lives, that's 2 checks. You do that play, swing a Millenniumon again, that's another 2 checks, now it's 4 checks. Then you have something else on board or whatever, or like you go into Zed, end a turn or something, whatever. You can do like whatever afterwards. So playing it, round 1 I played against Dinos and I ended up losing 2-1 against that. I won game 1 because of cool interactions. You know how rulings work, and for whatever reason he doesn't understand rules. Even though rules has been around since day 1 of the game, it just things got over time things got a little complicated, but the basics of the rules are still the same since day 1.
Okay.
Which when I explain it, you're gonna laugh. So he goes into Rust Tyrannomon, and Maji's on mid swing doing the whole Dino climb up shenanigans, right? He goes Rust Tyrannomon. Now Rust Tyrannomon forces collision, and so my board state included a Deltamon and a Machine Digimon. The Machine Digimon in context is the one that says on deletion, play Chimeramon out.
Yep.
So what happened was collision. All right, cool. He has piercing on, and so he thinks he's gonna be doing piercing. And I go, all right, cool. I'm gonna block with this Machine Digimon. It dies. Effect. Play out Chimeramon. Effect the Chimeramon. Delete itself to delete 3, 4, 5 on your board. He had a Tyrannomon on board, and then nothing else, I think. Because he had it was Tyrannomon, Rust, and Dinomon. So then Chimeramon on deletion effect, delete Deltamon, play Machine Digimon, deals it off everything. So now he loses his piercing because the piercing was only on the Rust Tyrannomon.
Yep.
And that basically ended that turn and his turn, and he freaked out. And so on my following turn, I did whatever, went to another Millenniumon, popped his board, and then I basically got game afterwards after that. I don't remember the sequence after that, but I ended up winning that one. And then game 2 and 3. Game 2 for sure, I bricked. And I noticed because of the revives, I have less, which is crazy because the deck has a lot of consistency, but I just imagine needing more consistency in a deck that already has a Gazimon that searches, Gizamon that trash 1, draw 2, a new card that says draw 2, trash 1, draw 2, and that's a 4 ofs, basically. And I still can't see my pieces.
Oh,
Great.
yeah.
Oh, and I almost forgot. There's the Shademon search with a, Nene. There's also analog Utes in the deck, and trainings. And you know what? I keep effing grab. I see the damn Revive of Darkness that does absolutely nothing for me, because that used to be for me the Garnet boost, the one that lets you search black red.
Mm-hmm.
And never saw other pieces. It was so funny.
I have those same exact problems in Lilith. I will have I have so many one-ofs, but like the one-ofs that like I really don't care to see early are like the Revive from Darkness, the Calling from Darkness, and like all these other like utility cards to make use of Lilith X. And it's like even like my champions. It's like I'll have like one black Growlmon Uber and I don't even know a Ginkaku promote, and I'll see all of those over the consistent 3 to 4 ofs that I play in the deck, because that's purple. That's purple decks, I guess. That's not named purple hybrid, I guess.
Exactly. So I ended up losing game 2, and then game 3. I think I just had a slow start. Like I was able to do things a little early, but not fast enough. And then I couldn't get into Moon or Zed, I think it was. I don't remember fully. And I just ended up losing. Then round 2, I had a bye. And then round 3, I played against Hunters. And I ended up winning that 2-0. Moon Millenniumon just says no, basically. So you get him out, pop your tamers with the most sources underneath it, basically. Unless it's Toguro, because Toguro is 2 colors and we rather get rid of that as soon as possible. And game 1, he only saw Mikey, I think it was, which was crazy. So I popped the Mikeys, and then I just like board controlled and dealt with whatever was coming afterwards. And then game 2, he ended up getting a bunch of tamers on board. And then I got into Moon Millie that made him pop. He ended up trashing like 5 cards in his hand, and then I popped both his Togurus. And then that was basically like all she wrote after that, because it had the most sources underneath them as well. And then obviously because of OG superior mode, you can't tuck 6s or 7s at that point when you only have 1 color on board or something like that. Whatever it was, I don't remember fully. And that was game. And then because the person I lost to got a draw, and the way the system works with just the win-loss draw, I ended up getting 2nd place because it was hilarious. I was like die on the inside because of it. Because the bye counts as a win. So I ended up being 2-1 versus a 1-1-1. It was just hilarious. I'm definitely gonna take out the revives. I did the combo once. Oh, I remember why I lost now. Game 3 in Dynamon, I tunnel vision because I got the revive. It had the machine jam. I was like, all right, full combo. I swing, it lives. And I forgot I had Millie and Trash not in hand. And I go revive. I'm like, all right, let's kill my machine jam. I play Chimera Mount now. And I'm like, I'm gonna go DNA. And then I go, oh wait, I can't DNA scoop. Because that was legit game at that point, because I was gonna get smacked up the following turn. And
right.
So,
but because you don't get the on play effects from Chimera, right?
Correct. So I had to do the DNA play, and if I didn't, like, I was passing turn with 4. Like I think I was passing with 3 memories, something like that. So I needed to go into the Millenniumon. The correct play would have been to play the Wicked God Descends, play out Millenniumon from trash, hop whatever on board, and then I had the Wicked God emerges, and then I go into like Zed or whatever after that and like clear his board state.
Man, it's crazy to think y'all Millie enjoyers are getting a third consistency option. That's crazy.
Draw 2 trash. Y'all really sound so stupid.
Y'all really eating out here, man.
I wish they would give us a whole, another line that's like, 3, 4, and 5 at least. Or at least 3
the line
would
will help more than the options.
Just give me a Gazimon that says reduce Evos by 1, so I can Evo into Delta for 1. That would help so much. But whatever. And so, I went to do that play. And I was just like, oh, I'm a dumbass at this point because I thought I finally did the combo and I couldn't do the stupid combo. And I was like,
you thought wrong, son.
Yep, basically that's what it was. And yeah, so like moving forward, I'm taking that back out. I'm putting back in. I was already thinking of taking out the Garnet boost anyways, and maybe going like 4 analog youth or 4 the purple training. I don't know yet. I got tinker with it. I think again, I was testing it against Omni. I just wasn't. Sunday wasn't my day to play that deck because I just had like the worst bricks ever. I had a game where I played all 4 of the Wicked God emerges, and I drew into nothing. Mind you, that's 8 draws right there, and it was crazy. Just because like
that it would be like
things were like clumped up in like the bottom half of the deck every time. It was like weird and stuff like that. And like I think again, the premise of the idea of like Millennium, I think it could do well against Omni, but it's just man, it's just so much like
it's slow.
It's slow in comparison to what Omni can do nowadays, so it's hard to do it. And like I don't mind them to get in the first Omni if it's not Alter S, at least in like Alter S looping, because I can deal with. All right, I can pop a Nokia. I can deal with things. The problem is, can you do that? You know, or like pop me right early or something or whatever. Because I had a game. I think I won one game when we were testing it, where I ended up popping like Ty, Matt, and a Nokia, and like it set him back quite a bit.
Yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
I was able to like do things afterwards, if I remember correctly.
Because they don't get free tamer playing that deck, do they?
No, not
outside
unless
of
you're playing
Growlmon, I guess.
Unless, yeah, if you play it, yeah.
If you play it,
and that's only for Ty and Matt.
Oh, not even Nokia. So yeah.
Yeah, so the only technically free play is the Mirai into Nokia, but you gotta play the Mirai first.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that was my local.
I didn't go to locals. As a matter of fact, I told Dan I was quitting Digimon, and I decided to start selling my entire collection. That's a lie. I didn't decide. But funny enough, I did sell some cards, and I was just like sitting there going through my binder because I was just like, I need some money for the upcoming weeks because of some other stuff that I had. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll just see what I can get rid of that like I'm not using. Pulsemon, irrelevant to me. I love Pulsemon. I love the idea of Pulsemon, but Pulsemon is just like forever trash. I could make an entire video on Pulsemon, and then we would get Pulsemon support, and then I would kick myself in the ass. So I'm not going to do that. It's funny, Dan. You got 2 whole promos, and you didn't even complain about Millie. You didn't even go on a Millie rant.
No. We don't do that.
Oh, speaking of though, we do have some like new
Tyrannomon support.
Not just Tyrannomon support. That one's trash for Tyrannomon. Hey, that's more for DM. But we do have like new promos coming out, and I'm excited to see what they do because the text was unreadable for some of it. So
no, we got the translations. We got the translations.
Oh, yeah. For all of them? I thought we only got for some of them.
No.
Oh, okay. So those promos, I'll pull them up here once I find them. But basically, it was promos for what? Myotismon got another promo, right? No, all right, I got it here. I'll make sure Lucas throws this up on screen. We got, that's because these are the tournament pack cards. I remember now. So yes, we got 6 new promos. Justimon. This is, what's it called? Alphamon, or Chronicle, specifically, I should say. Obviously, Millie. The digital gate open for some reason is, this is because it was originally a tournament or a promo for going to Game Fest, I think.
Yeah.
So this is coming in the tournament packs. A Phascomon for Balphamon.
It's really good.
A Searcher. And then a Tyrannomon that is more for DM than it is for anything else. So we'll just run through these cards. I said Justimon, didn't I?
Oh, you did? My fault. I missed that part.
I thought I said Justimon. But either way, I'll make sure Lucas has these photos to throw up on screen. We'll just run through these cards real quick. So first up, we've got our Phascomon. Phasco is a Digivolve from Capurimon 4-0. And on play, on deletion, reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Balfamon or Gizmon in its text among them to your hand. Bottom deck the rest, then trash 1 card in your hand. Now, remember, the way that Digimon works is you do the whole effect, you fulfill as much as possible. So even if you don't add anything, you are still going to trash 1. So if you reveal 3 whiff, you are still going to trash 1. It is something to keep in mind, but generally you don't hate that, especially because this combo is really nicely with the, the original Balfamon from BT13, that rage mode. That one says if you have 5 or less cards in your hand at the start of main phase, you get to gain sec plus,
I think it's 4 cards less. Yeah, it's sec attack plus 2. No, sec attack plus 2 and plus 3k, because he's like 17k 3 checks, I think it is.
Something like that. So it lets you keep hand parity, which is very important for that deck. You don't want to be adding cards to your hand. You want to be keeping your hand size within reason and get it lower than you would in regular decks.
You basically always want like net 0. That's why, like,
yeah, exactly.
People used to run scatter mode, but scatter mode wasn't good at the same time because it was always a plus one.
Yep. Like, it's good to get that draw going, which is what you need, but at the same time, you can end up drawing too many cards. So
agreed. Yep.
That's really good, and it's on play and on deletion, which is insane. It's so insanely good for that deck.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that means you get the on play effect, and then you can swing, die, and then get the on deletion as well. It means that if you use that for, there's an effect that lets you pop one of your, you can play something like Demonic Disaster to get the unsuspend. I think the deck has a built-in way to delete one of your Digimon to unsuspend, Dan. Is that Rage Mode's effect? The BT13
might
one,
be,
I believe.
The Astamon?
Something lets you pop your Digimon as well. So that's just really cool to get more
Astamon lets you, because the Astamon is you delete on the Digimon to Evo.
Right.
For free. Yeah.
So that's kind of cracked, right? Well, you do have to fulfill the Astamon effect. So you have to make sure that you have the sleep mode in trash. Now, it can let you do some ballsy plays where you can drop you can drop the Fascomon for the search. Then let's say you either Digivolve or you hard drop the Astamon to pop it. You can go into the sleep mode if you have it in trash, and then bank on seeing rage mode in your next 3 cards off of the Fascomon before you do the Balfamon when Digivolve in effect. So it lets you be a little bit more ballsy. I like that card a lot. The Inherited is an end of opponent's turn by trashing 1 card in your hand, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, which matters for basically the new Balfamon, because the new Balfamon reads that you suspend all of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. And then if you have 6 or fewer, it gains piercing, set plus 2, blah, blah, blah. But then start of your main phase, it's an on-play when Digivolving, you get to pop one of your opponent's suspended Digimon or Tamers, meaning that with that effect in your Astamon stack, if you go into sleep mode, then you put this rage mode underneath. You're going to get to suspend any one of your opponent's Digimon. It doesn't have to be level 5 or lower. You can suspend at level 6 or level 7. Then rage mode comes in and will pop whatever you choose to pop, which is super nice. I'm so excited for Balfamon. I was a very big enjoyer. I never got to play it much because unfortunately it came out in the same set as Royal Knights. So I ended up just playing Royal Knights for the entirety of BT13. But I am very excited to play Balfamon coming up. Dan and I tried to make this work with Purple Hybrid, but it's too conflicting of an engine. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So it unfortunately didn't pan out. Next up, we've got Tyrannomon. It is your DM traded card for version 1. It has training. When any of your suspended Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon card with Tyrannomon in its name or the dinosaur or version 1 trait, you reduce the Digi-evolution cost by 1. I'll tell you, Tyrannomon enjoyers, the reason you don't care for this is because you're going to be swinging with your Tyrannomon, and Tyrannomon is effectively a 1 stack at a time. If you were getting to the point where you're building more than 1 stack, 9 times out of 10, you're winning that game. So for your single stack purpose, swinging this, you need, Ryutaro. But even then, this would have to be on the field as an additional Digimon, because this says when any of your suspended Digimon would Digivolve. So it can see itself.
Yeah, it'll see itself, so it'll Evo for 1.
It'll Evo for 1 less. So it is better than the BT4. No, BT14 plays out. One of them BT11 plays out the tamer. So BT14 is the one that start of main. You can reduce each Digi-evolution cost by 1. So it's cool because you can, swing Digivolve for less. But in terms of Tyrannomons, we've already got BT, what is it? BT, the new one, essentially, the Liberator one that you're going to be playing at 4, because it's just good. You've got the BT11 one to play out your Ryutaros, because we don't have any other ways to play our Tamer. And you've got Tyranno X. So you can definitely play this, now that I'm actually reading it, and it says just suspended. But do I find this to be a fora for the deck? I mean, it does
Absolutely
Digivolve
not.
Digivolves. Is this a regular Digivolve for 3? Oh no, Dan, it does Digivolve for 2.
Yeah, but it has to be DM. No, does it say dinosaur? Okay,
it's green. It only Digivolves 2 from green. So you have to make sure you're playing entirely green base. So they're forcing you to play.
Oh, okay. I was confused. Okay, because I was just looking at the text.
So okay,
yeah.
All right, I take it back. It's not that bad.
It's only a 4 cost drop too. Only 4 cost drop.
Yeah,
not that
only
bad.
4 cost drop. No, it's not, and it has a piercing inheritable. All right, I take it back. I could see some use for this card. I would probably play this at 2.
I don't know what ratio for champions you're gonna be, because that's another Tyrannomon.
It's just another Tyrannomon. I know.
The issue with the deck is you don't need more Tyrannomons. You need more other stuff. But hey,
it's not the Tyrannomons we need. It's the level 3s that. Just another good one.
Yep.
Like this Tyrannomon, now that I've reread it, yes, I like this more than I initially did, because I thought this required. I didn't think it said when would. I thought it just saw the actual Digi-evolution. But because it says when it would Digivolve, it sees itself, which is nice. So you can go chain Evo with Ryutaro for 1 less. Or for 2 less, I should say. So this would Digivolve for 1, which is nice. But again, BT20 EX8, sorry, Tyrannomon is still really good. You have Tyranno X that you're still going to be playing. If you're going for the Dark Tyranno stuff and the Dark Tyranno X, obviously that's another thing. Honestly, I probably would have rather this been a Dark Tyrannomon rather than a regular Tyrannomon. If this was a Dark Tyrannomon effect, I think it would have warranted then you play the BT, I keep saying BT, the Liberator Tyrannomon, the EX8, and then you'd play this and you could then get away with playing the Dark Tyrannomon X, because you can then, no, I lie. Because that one Digivolving effect is you get to pop something and it's the one attacking. So it doesn't even matter. I take it back. I don't know. It's good. I'll say that.
And it's also soft for DM, you didn't mention it just because you don't.
I know.
But the DM's decks, super soft for version 1 trader stuff, because version 1 trader is kind of lacking. And so being able to have something that can reduce the Evo cost, especially for the Mazimon, which is a really good card, or the Metal Greymon is a solid version 1 ultimate as well, is pretty good too.
For sure.
If you're going into a 5.
Next up, we've got Justimon Excel Arm. We have yet another Justimon promo, and it does not fix the deck. I'm sorry, Justimon enjoyers. We are still suffering. It's a Digivolve from Justimon Blitz Arm or Critical Arm for 1. Digivolve from a level 5 with Cyberdramon in name for 3. On play when Digivolving when attacking once per turn. Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Then by trashing 1 option card to battle area, which is nice, it gains Sec +1 and Piercing for the turn. All turns, when option cards are trashed from battle area, one of your opponent's Digimon can't Digivolve or attack players until the end of turn, which actually, again, is pretty nice. It lets you say, all right, cool. I've put this Excel Arm in the battle area. The moment you crack that training, they are going to resolve their entire effect, which is important because of the way this works. When option cards are trashed, not when option cards would be trashed. Generally speaking, whenever effects read when would, that is an interruptive effect. This is not interruptive.
Not putting wood in important ass text. That should have been a wood effect. That should be 100% a wood effect right there.
I agree with that. If it said that, I think Justimon would have been not a cracked deck, but it would have been a lot better. But because this reads when option cards are trashed, your opponent will trash their training or memory boost, get to be able to Digivolve or gain the memory, or in the case of Melee, do their delay effect. But then this effect comes into play, right? And the sequencing then is you now have a when Digivolving effect that is activating at the same time as an option card has been trashed. in terms of resolution. Turn player priority now matters here. Your opponent will get the first chance to do something, and then you'll get the chance to resolve this effect. So they do have the ability to remove you before they do something, but what this means is that for combos that essentially kick off from, like, let's say they're raising a rookie to go into their 4 or a 4 to go into a 5 that doesn't chain Evo into their 6 and it doesn't have removal on the 5, you can now prevent that Digivolve from Digivolve. This is what I was talking about many podcasts ago at this point. It's at least maybe 10 podcasts ago. When I said that if we're going to have more delay options, we should have an archetype like Justimon that interacts better with these options. So I like the route that they're taking this with, but it just, again, it doesn't like fix Justimon as a deck. It doesn't do enough. It needs to do just something a little bit more. It needs a little bit more consistency. I think we need another low end for Justimon. At this point, we've got enough Justimons that are good. We just need lower end support, and also those option cards, the devices, they're they're just inconsistent for the deck.
So here's the issue. As someone who plays actual Justimon quite a bit.
Sorry, yes.
This card,
I am a dirty Marvin's Machines enjoyer. Go ahead, Dan.
This card is fantastic. A second card that can pop your opponent's options is fantastic. That's
not an ace.
That was an issue the deck had prior, in my opinion, was that it only had the Blitz Arm Ace to be able to pop, and you had no other ways of popping. The Justy X gains the effect, so you can pop, but having a second card that on its own effect to be able to pop your opponent's options is fantastic for the deck. It doesn't fix the deck, obviously, because there's only, in the new version of Justimon, there's only one line of it. The old EX2 line does jack shit for the deck, unfortunately. Doesn't do much for it. The searchings are terrible in versus what the deck needs currently. We need another like Monodramon that can search the deck or something. Another, what's it called? It was the Strike Dramon. We need another Strike Dramon that does something, because the old one is irrelevant, basically. The new one is good, being able to play Rio for free. Fantastic, but we just need like another line of it. And then the Cyber Dramons are fine too, because we have the one that has to rush, collision, all that shenanigans. You'll play for free, whatever, off of Rio. You have Cyber Dramon X, fantastic card. You have the Cyber Dramon Ace, great card as well, in my opinion. And then Blitz Arm, a great ace, honestly. And the problem is getting there. And then devices, honestly, all the devices are pretty solid in what they do. It's just, there's nothing that says break the game, aka the Digivolution plugin for Sakuyamon.
Fair cards.
They're all good cards, but like they don't Evo for free or anything. There's no pop. There's no pop this device effect, Evo one of your Cyber Dramon, whatever you want to name it, whatever the effect is for 2 less or some shit. If they had that, I think the deck could be even better, because if you're playing just pure, it's hard to fit trainings in. If you're going to do it that way, you have to put trainings, but then you have to cut your devices out. That's also an issue as well, because the deck is the device is so integral to the deck, especially for Rio, because Rio says start a main, you place one from your hand to draw one. And so you kind of need that engine to keep filling it and, pop off to play your Cyber Dramon for free, potentially, because you need 4 of them on board and stuff like that. There's some of them are really good, right? You have the draw one. You have the ones that's like -3 cannon. They can't do on Evo effects or whatever. Piercing plus 4K, reboot blocker plus 2K alterns, stuff like that.
They're solid, but they suffer from the same problems that Sakuyamon initially suffered with. Here are these extra cards that kind of, in a way, don't do anything on their own, and you really benefit from digivolving and using the effects of your Digimon to use them. But until then, they're kind of a brick in your hand. You have all of a 50 card deck to try to fit consistency, your utility cards, and the actual Digimon.
Yeah.
And Tamers. Let's not forget how integral the Tamers are.
That's why we need a whole nother line, because right now it's terrible without that. Like there's no consistency of it.
Yeah. I think this is just an argument that we need 60 card decks up to 60 card decks in the Digimon card game.
hopefully BT23, because Cyberdramon is important to the hacker's memory, especially as someone is playing it. I'm sure we're gonna get a new Cyberdramon. Hopefully we get like another line that does, things with it. But I'm scared because Cyberdramon is not Rio's in there, that it's just gonna be a hacker's memory.
Hoodie-mon support.
Low 5. Exactly. It's gonna be Hudie traded. We'll see. Hopefully we get like a Monodramon that says like on play, trash a device to draw 2. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I'll be real. I feel like there are definitely ways to fix. Again, I said this in the Sakuyamon rant. I appreciate how they said, all right, Sakuyamon is trash with the plugins. Let's make it use options. But we see how busted that became, right? I think there are ways to fix Justimon to still have it work with devices, but they need to do something else to really make that strategy worth it and make it more consistent. I think, that Rio, right? Is it you may place one to draw one?
Yeah, start a main.
So that's nice. I think if we had something like either the Monodramon or the Strikemon to say like on play, place a device, don't activate the effects. But if you do, then, you get to search. For Strikemon, when digivolving, place device, maybe search again or something like that. Something that lets you get these things into the battle area or like, all right, so actually, as I'm thinking about it,
Cyberdramons.
Even if you don't have one in hand, activate one of the following effects. Play a device or put a device in battle area, don't activate effects, and then search. If you don't have one, search and then play one. So either way, you're going to get to play one, you're going to get a search. It accelerates both aspects of the game plan. That for both the Mono and the Strikemon might be nice because but going into the Cyberdramon, you need to have something. If you don't have anything, you're not doing anything. And the Justimons are great because, option cards are so prevalent in today's game. It doesn't matter. You're popping anything, but, the Cyberdramons are kind of useless because they don't target your opponents. They only target yours. I was like,
correct.
So something to make them replace themselves, give that benefit of being able to do something while keeping it in archetype. I think there should be a lesson learned about letting archetypes use generic options without saying, these are your archetypal options. We went that route, we learned that route. Let's not go back down that route. But let's try to make this thing more worth it.
It sucks too. Like there's no other devices. So where we're going to go from here? Like, are we just going to create brand new devices just so we can be able to have them in the game? Or are we like going to create another night device, but does something else or something like that?
It can go either way. I assume there are cards in Justimon that read, if you don't have like King's Device, place King's Device, or is that what their effects themselves read?
Yeah, that's the effect itself. Like King Device is the one that says like when trash, you can place another one instead.
Not name King.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's Digimon. It's one thing I like. They can do anything they want. I'm interested to see where they take it. I like these cards, but it doesn't fix the deck. It doesn't make it consistent and fun to play. It makes it extremely infuriating. Really infuriating. Honestly, yeah. Next up, we've got Release of the Sealed Knight. This is an X-Antibody and Chronicle Chard. Oh my good lord. Card main by trashing one card with the X-Antibody or Chronicle trait from your hand, draw 2, then place. Then when Digimon attacks players, any Digimon on the field attacks either player, one of your Grademon, or Digimon with the Chronicle trait may Digivolve into Alphamon, or level 6 or lower Digimon with the Chronicle trait in hand without paying the cost. That's busted. That's cracked. That is insanity. Antics, if you're watching this, god damn, you plussing out here, boy. You get a consistency card. Sure, you don't get another rookie, but you now have a pseudo ace card in your deck, which is crazy for a delete option. Like, especially considering that Grademon says, oh yeah, if I'm digivolving during an attack, unaffected by opponent's Digimon effects, and plus 4K. So it's like, cool, you can end turn on Grademon, unaffected by opponent's Digimon effects. You have this in battle area. They come up, they go a swinging. Sure, you don't have a level 6 ace, but now you do because you've got Release of the Sealed Knight that says, boom, I Digivolve into Alphamon. I'm going to recover one. You swing into my security and you remove it, boom, I neg 8. Or you're swinging into me, I'm now 15k. Or you swing into an Oriumon that's going to Digivolve you one. And then I think when security is removed from, you get to pop something. Can't remember what the condition is, but you get to pop something. Whatever it is. And then again, the way that these effects work, this occurs during when an opponent's Digimon attacks step, meaning that you can now chain Evo. You can go this effect first, Digivolve into the Alphamon. You have the ace in hand, ace them. You can ace, you can freaking Alphamon, or you can ace from level 5. That's insanity.
Yeah,
this card is cracked.
Solid card.
Do I think that this takes this deck to tier 1? No. I think the deck has other problems, but does this make the deck way more consistent and way better to play? Absolutely. If you were like, oh, like I want to play the deck, but like, I don't know, it's not doing much right now, or I don't think it's all that consistent, you should pick it up, play it now, because this card is crazy for the deck. This card does for the deck what the option cards are currently doing for Millie. It makes the deck so much more consistent and so much more playable, which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah. And it already has some consistency, like the Doramon. There's a Doramon that's like trash on draw 2. You have, your Chronicle Searcher and stuff. So this just adds to the consistency it has. And then it has the other option that allows you to do something similar,
what it's called.
right? When attacking, you can Evo as well or something like that. I don't remember what it's called right now. I don't play Chronicle as much as
it is called Fellowship of Hope's Keepers.
Yes, that one.
Which is kind of worse because its delay effect triggers when any of your Chronicle trait Digimon are deleted, and you don't want your shit deleted. So
yeah, that's what it is. And so this just adds to it. I think it's pretty solid for sure. Maybe you can even run this in regular Alphamon deck too, possibly. I don't know. I think you can.
If you decide to go for like a more great, because obviously you have to play Grademon and not Doru Greymon, because it says one of your Grademon or Chronicle trait. So you would have to focus on playing the Grademons. But even so, I mean, that one Chronicle Grademon is insanely good because of the
fantastic.
Unaffected by Digimon effects plus 4K and the opponent's turn redirect to be able to let you to go into an Alphamon. You still have good Alphamons that aren't Chronicle traded. And then it sets you up for next turn because you're still... Oh, right. It does let you go into the CS one.
It's just Alphamon. Just Alphamon. That's all it is.
Right. So Dan's right. You could, if you wanted to play Alphamon Tribal again, that makes it a hell of a lot better.
I think so too, yeah.
Big W for that card. And then the last card we got, which is
the one we got before.
Insane Synthetic Monster. And this one says, while you have a DM trait Digimon or Tamer on the field, you can ignore its color requirements. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's a draw 2, trash 2. Fantastic. It's a filter. It gets you 2, and then it puts not 1 but 2 cards in your trash. And then its delay effect is by deleting one of your play cost 7 or lower Digimon. You may play one Digimon card with Chimeramon or Millenniumon in its name from your trash with the play cost reduced by 3. Dan, how good is this card?
Fantastic.
Why is it fantastic?
First off, let's talk about it in the DM wise first. For DM, the whole point of DM Chimeramon is you need 7 names in trash. So off rip, this is setting up your trash faster than it was previously. Mind you, you're also playing analog use to get to fill that trash. So this is just another card to add to that ability to trash cards from your hands, because sometimes it's hard to get those cards out of your hand. Sometimes, depending on what your DM champions are and their effects to be able to tuck cards underneath it. Being able to do that, fantastic. And then if you're able to, let's say for example, it says by deleting one of your play cost 7 or lower Digimon, you may play one Digimon called Chimeramon or Millennium. Forget the Millennium part at this moment. Chimeramon from your trash. If you're if you're nice and you have a bunch of face down cards underneath, let's say you have 4 in trash different names and you have it set up where 3 other names are different, you go pop this, pop that champion that has 3 face down cards, you play the Chimeramon, and then your assembly just right there. Now you can potentially assembly a turn faster or turn 2 faster. I've done turn 2 or turn 3 Chimeramon myself, but this adds a way faster consistency way of doing that on a regular, like on a DM deck. That's a 4 of instantly, no questions asked. And then mind you, you're playing it for free because it's reduced by 3. You assembly for the full 7 names. So that's instead of a 10 cost, it becomes 3 costs. With this makes it 0. So now if this Chimeramon dies, you swing your 2 checks, blow things up. Chimeramon dies. If you have another Chimeramon, now you can go and use the memory that you saved, play another one for 3. And then, you're popping off or whatever and like continue comboing off like that. It's just so fantastic. And now for the melee side, this is where it gets a little different, a little interesting. First off, of course, it's purple, so you don't care about the first effect because you're purple base anyways, unless something happens in the future that changes that. Secondly, draw 2 trash. 2, you want to set up your trash as well. Fantastic. You want to draw your pieces. Third is now, here's where it gets interesting. You need to delete one of your play cost 7 or lower Digimon first to be able to play your effects. So maybe deleting your Deltamon that says, delete level 4 lower, trash card, whatever array. Then you could play a Chimeramon or Millenniumon. Cool thing is, like, it's hard, but like you can combo with the Chimeramon. If you have like double, you have a rookie and a champion or something, you go play Chimeramon for reduced costs of 3. That makes it 5. If you're able to Digicross, you could make it to like maybe like 3, 4 or something. Delete one of them. You go Chimeramon effect, delete the other Digimon, play Machinimon, and now you have a way cheaper Machinimon play if you're about to do that, and then you go to Millenniumon, whatever you need to do after that. You can do that. You can also do you can, if you have, it's hard, but you could kind of do like the DNA play off of it depending on your like board situation. So that's a possibility.
It kind of serves as your in archetype, so to say, revive from darkness.
The issue is the play cost 7 or lower. You have to delete
exactly
by deleting one of your play cost 7 or lower.
You can't pop your Chimera,
or you can't delete Machinimon.
Or you can't pop the problematic thing.
Yes,
but it offers you more consistency than you had previously.
And then
draw 2 trash.
On top of the other thing is you play Millenniumon for reduced cost of 3. So basically, if you Digicross, normally he's 10. You play for 7. Low key in Millenniumon, that's great. Like any way we can reduce our play costs even further, it helps us so much. And again, here's another cool thing that maybe you didn't realize prior. It's in name, so you can technically play Moon Millenniumon and you can technically play Z Millenniumon.
If you wanted to, yes. 12 and 13.
Exactly. You can if you need to or whatever. So that's a play as well. So it's a solid card. That one in Millenniumon, I don't think it's a 4 of.
Not a 4 of.
But
it's
probably definitely a 2 of for sure. That's going to be like my spot where I've had like the 2 revives or Garnets or whatever. That's probably be the new spot for it. More draw. Sure. I'd love to have more draw.
I mean, in that deck. just based on that fact, it's like, why run Garnet? Like, sure, the memory is great for Garnet, but I could also just draw 2 and then trash 2 because more importantly, it's a purple deck and it works on having cards in trash. You want to have the cards in trash. So instead of putting cards in my hand, I can just draw cards and filter cards out. And then if I have the ability to do this effect later, I can pop this Gazimon or I can pop this Deltamon and try to kick off some sort of combo. So
correct.
Yeah, pretty nifty. That's all our reveals. That's our new store tournament promos. Get super excited for those. I like seeing these revealed as part of, reasons to participate in locals. I never really was a fan of like recolored fucking promos or shit. So these are cool. Hopefully Japan gets these and we don't get a situation where they try giving us these as freaking regional promos again, because that was horrendous. And
hopefully
everybody should have access to these, and it shouldn't be limited to any particular freaking way,
region.
but whatever. Moving on, we're going to do our comments or review. So let's see, what are we going to talk about? Hype Man Joe Mojo, say, commenting on the way people are culturally different here in Indiana. We don't have much in terms of differences, except when you hit the north and south of the state. Closer to Chicago you get, the more it looks like Chicago. Closer to Kentucky, the more you see the difference. Mostly in accents, but also in mannerisms. Like we were talking about last pod, the differences you get just by even traveling, you know, sometimes just all you gotta do is travel an hour. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm in an entirely different world. That's how it is over here in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, definitely. I gotta cut you off real quick. Dartus Bagonron AA dropped, and this is one of the most fire cards.
Bro, Takenuchi Moto. No, wait, hold on. Takeuchi, not Takenuchi, is my bad. Takeuchi Moto. They've done some. If you don't know off the top of your head that artist name, just go on DigimonCard.dev and type in their name. And the arts that they do are insane. I highlighted these arts when I was looking at the Diaboromon. No, not Diaboromon. Which one was it? Actually, it was. Oh no, it wasn't during the Diaboromon video, but they have done the Diaboromon art for EX6, which is crazy good looking. They did the Volcanic and Metallic, which are such awesome looking cards. The Rage mode from EX6, they've done a lot of good looking cards. And the new Magnetic Dramon and the Black War Greymon that kind of has that, you know what it is? It's kind of like it has that like oil painting feel. And it's such a good art style for cards, especially for Digimon. I don't know about for other games, but for Digimon, it's such a good art style. It lets
looks like just like
really
an old school anime villain, some shit. Like it looks
for
tough.
real. Oh, that's what it is. It's that old school anime look. Yeah, it's so tough. They've got some great art. I suggest you guys definitely go give them a look. What is the comment we got here? Alphamon goes into, this is from Polemification. Alphamon goes into Oryukin in both Tri and the X Evolution movie where he is a Royal Knight. Crimson mode seems to be a thing only for Takado's Growlmon since he only shows up in the Tamer's End. In all the media where you see Growlmon as a Royal Knight, you never see him going into Crimson mode as far as I know. That is the lore. If you didn't see the last pod, that's the lore on why Oryukin is still considered a Royal Knight. Magellan says Bandai has a trend of taking a half measure solution that leads to more cards being restricted than necessary. I understand it's better to lean on the side of maximizing player freedom, but it's like they don't consider the power vacuum that will be created and what will immediately fill up. It was one of my biggest criticisms of Bandai over the entire course of playing this game. They've done it many times. It was initially done when, you know, Mirage was basically allowed to run rampant for like 3 ban lists. Like every time something got hit, Mirage skirted it. And it's such a pain in the ass. It's why, again, my reply was, this is very true. And it's why I'm more of a fan of a list like this, only if we didn't get restriction lists at predetermined times. It sucks having to wait such a long period when things do prove to be problematic. If there was more of a reaction and it wasn't like oh shit, APOC is busted, we need to do something about this type thing, then, you know, it'd be okay. But that's literally the only time they've ever taken like emergency action. So yeah, I hate that. What do we got here? I don't know how to feel about just by JStore. I don't know how to feel about the Rush Gilmon hit. Yes, the reason the hit makes sense. However, it's used in purple decks, and the moment purple decks see the one in the trash, then that's all they need, especially since the whole entire GrowlX package uses cards from the trash. Sure, without Gravity Crush, the deck might not be as reliant on Gravity Crush, but couldn't they also just run like the memory boost to help stay kind of consistent? My reply was yes, for the logic of hitting Matt, Rush Gilmon hands down should have been banned. If the logic is seeing more than one copy of this card is all you need, then it should be hit. And Rush Gilmon should have been outright banned and not limited, but they didn't because, I don't know, Bandai, I guess. I also said, that being said, it's important to key in on one thing I said a couple times during pod. Gravity Crush means they have to play the game with you. Since to really do something on their turns, they need setup, which gives you time and chance to play the game, compared to how it was before, which would literally be, oh, it's turn 2. I drew a bunch of cards and I have 2 Gravity Crush. I think I win this turn. Like, fuck that noise. I hated that shit. I'm glad Gravity Crush is gone. tired of these freaking turn 3 OTKs because they just have unlimited memory. Fun fact, this is by Wolfhorn. People have now swapped Valderarm out with Shakamon. 2 checks and a blanket sec -1 to your opponent's Digimon, plus a Chaos deck at the end of opponent's turn. The moment I saw this, like the moment Dan sent, it was in Discord. Someone sent the list and they were like, yeah, this is what Sakuya players are doing now. I was like, yeah, this is all the more reason that pair ban is like a null factor, because it doesn't fix the core issue. It's just a patchwork fix and is literally what was said earlier by Magellan, taking a fucking half measure solution. Like,
yeah, that Talmon needed to get hit too.
And personally, Mike used to say this all the time when he was, a regular member of the podcast. We need to see cards fucking banned, man. Talmon, no, it didn't just need to be restricted. It should have just been fucking banned, because there are just some cards that are toxic to the game. I also want to talk about one card later on, but I'll talk about that in a bit. Garuda X is still problematic regardless. This is by Oreo X. It granting Rush was far easier than EX4 Guilmon. Birds only got outshined because other decks were faster, and prior to this, Engine lacked amazing champions, which is very true. Engines! We'll talk about that in a bit. Robert Stewart said, the biggest criticism I can give of Bandai's decision to leave GrowlX alone is that after I saw the list, I went to look at Ben's Machine Dramon profile, abusing the broken GrowlX engine, as he put it. His list is untouched by these restrictions, and that means there's still a good number of decks out there that will abuse this engine. Really comes to mind. We'll get there. Talk about it. Rina Shinomiya Val, Deep Saver's Aegis Dramon can perform the wide board disrupt and on-play floodgate Valderarm did. That's right, Deep Saver's Aegis Dramon does digivolve from yellow. That is a thing. Go hit figure. Shakamon can dish out the security checks. All Bandai did with the pair ban was split what the level 7 can do in 2. If you haven't seen the last pod, you should check it out. I had a whole spiel on why that pair ban was the only reason that not the only reason, but a very large portion of the reason why that ban list for me was a fucking B instead of an A. Alistor said, hopefully after Nats, when Omni runs crazy, they will hit Alter S. Probably not. They'll probably hit Miraculous and cripple the deck irreparably. I don't know about that. Dan, do you think Miraculous cripples the deck, or do you think that makes the deck fair?
It's hard to say.
Without like more results? I don't know. You've played more Omni and you've played against it. That's why I asked.
Man, they took away Miraculous that hurts the deck for sure. Like Alter S is the cancer problem, honestly. Just because if you keep
unaffected by effects,
you just use 2 and that's game. So I think Miraculous is good enough to stay, but like Alter S is a problem.
Yes, time will tell. Zukara says, Scrambles will continue to commit war crimes. They will hit everything else but Scrambles. Listen, I know some people out there, shout out to the boy Lance, doesn't think Scrambles are a problem. Scrambles are a problem. That's my opinion. That's Stan's opinion. That's some of y'all's opinion. And if you disagree, it's okay to disagree. But Scrambles, Dan, Bersurian says, Millenniumon deck list, please? Can you make the people a Millie deck profile, please?
Yeah, I can if people would edit it and put it out.
I promise I'm working on it. I'm working on it, I promise. Content's being worked on, I promise. Sexy Dwarf. Sakuyamon did nothing wrong.
Lies.
But I understand the thing with Valderarm. I'm already using Aegis Dramon. But I'm not sure what to put in the plugin space. The cope in that statement. was immense. Sebastian said there is a second Xmon, if I recall correctly. He was created to fight Fanglong, but I'm unsure if he's the same as Royal Knight Xmon. Huh? In what media? Because as far as I know, is Fanglong even a thing in Tamers, Dan? He is. He's not, right? That's right, because we didn't even get him in EX10.
Survive.
Okay. So
I don't know.
Huh.
Xmon wasn't in Survive.
Huh. Yeah, I wonder what media he's from.
Yeah, unless Fanglong,
which also makes me question,
like maybe a manga I don't know about.
It had to be, right, because we have Fanglong Ruin Mode, and I don't even know where Fanglong Ruin Mode is from.
Survive. Oh, I'm sorry. Fanglong was prior to Survive. Ruin Mode was okay. Survive. I think that's what it is.
Gotcha. Akashia says, cough, cough, win rate 60% can still get you free evo from Tao, Sakuya to Sakuya X. I don't even want to talk about Sakuyamon. I'm a bypass Sakuyamon. I want to talk about Dan real quick before we talk about our main topic. I've watched some videos. I've heard some people talk about it. And we talked about this last pod, but I heard that Raw Knights of the Purge was a shit hit for Royal Knights. It doesn't do anything to the deck. And on the flip side, I have heard that Royal Knights of the Purge kills the deck and that it makes the deck like unplayable.
We got two extremes for no reason.
It's two big extremes, and this is our podcast, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna be real. I think those are two extremely brain dead takes. It's brain dead on one side, and then you like come into the middle, and then you start going brain dead on the other side. And as a Royal Knights player, as a matter of fact, no. Let me ask Dan, the person who has probably played against Royal Knights the most out of like all of us. Dan, Royal Knights of the Purge. Does it kill the deck, do you think?
No.
Why does it not kill the deck?
Because you can still do things.
Like what?
Like Omegamon.
Yeah, but what does Omegamon do?
Omegamon will allow you to place cards underneath your Royal Knight. Underneath your dress, I should say.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. On the other end, does Royal Knights of the Purge, does that hit matter for the deck?
Yes.
Like,
sure does.
But why? Why does it matter?
Because it speeds up. It sped up the deck faster than it should be. That was the issue.
So now, like, how did it speed it up?
Because you can place your Omni X early underneath Yggdrasil, Yiggy, and then play out Omni X for free.
Oh, I guess if you can play out Omni X for free off of Purge, even though you don't get the on play, it having raid piercing and having rush and then being able to swing again at the end of turn. Actually, the more that the words come out of my mouth, the more it seems busted.
Yeah.
That is pretty big.
If we slow that down, I think that can, hurt the deck a little,
Just a little, without crippling the deck, right? Because ban lists are meant to. What are ban lists meant to do, Dan? Remind me again.
They're meant to rein in the overpoweredness of certain.
Right. They're not meant to fucking cripple the decks, right?
Right.
I don't know what the fuck it is with this community thinking that fucking ban lists need to nerf decks out of existence. That's not the purpose of a ban list, guys.
Purge does. The reason why Purge is the perfect hit, it doesn't kill the deck, but it doesn't, doesn't kill the deck, but it also doesn't make it where it doesn't do anything. Like, instead of being up here, it's like over here now, type of thing. And I think it's fine because Omni X shouldn't be coming out turn 2 to turn 3. Like, that's supposed to be a closer type of card, not something to aggro the F out of you. Mind you, if you're, high rolling like all F, and if you remember seeing the one that played the was it the Fire Rocket to give a second
Fire Rocket? Yep.
And now you're doing 4 checks in turn 2, turn 3. It's
That's
crazy.
not what the busted play was. The busted play was you stick Growlmon X underneath because you get that out. That's your red source. And then you can go Growlmon X 2 checks. It doesn't pop anything, so it unsuspends, and then it does 2 more checks. So you clear security in 1 turn with a Growlmon X.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man. But yeah, so we slowing that down, which I think is good. And we're gonna still see a top. The good players out that are gonna play Royal Knights are gonna still top. It's just not gonna be, a lot more as it was prior, right? It's gonna be maybe 1 or 2 now versus 500 or something. I'm exaggerating. But that's the point though. Like, it doesn't kill the deck, it makes it slower, and which is good. That's what the deck needed.
I just people be like, I play Royal Knights and this is why this hit does matter or doesn't matter. And I'm like, are we playing the same fucking deck? Or
how are you getting sources
like
fast? How are you getting sources fast?
Or they'll say, I've played against a lot of Royal Knights and this is why this hit kills the deck. Are we playing the same game? Like,
yeah. For sure, the people who were planning to play that for Nats, they're gonna have to do some grind and figure out if this is still good for Nats.
I can tell you for the utmost certainty, if I see 2 Purge and 1 Omni X, I'm fucking goated. Like, I get to play my Omni X, swing over something, raid, bottom deck, blah, blah, blah. It gets tucked under my Omni, and I get to Purge and play it out. Now it has Rush, and I can swing 2 more times. The amount of times I've won games just because I get to use Purge to take out bodies, because Omni X is always giving me attack at the end of the turn, with Purge being able to just let me win faster without BT13 Omni. Like, anybody who says, oh yeah, I don't use Purge much at all, or it's never been the deciding factor of any of my games. Yeah, that's because you fucking took it for granted and you didn't need to, pull into multiple copies. Now you have 1, right? Because typically you'd be like, all right, reveal 3 for Last Guardian, and 1 is Purge, and you have 2 Digimon. You'll take the Digimon because you're like, I already have a Purge, or I'll see another Purge. So you'll typically have 1 to 2 to use during the course of the match. But now you only have one singular Purge between your security and your deck. If you don't open with it, you got to draw into it unless it's in your security, in which you are fucked. You will never see that card unless it pops out of your security. So you can't do the ignorant plays. You can't even tuck Omekamon. Now we got to tuck the Omekamon the way it was meant to be tucked. It got to be deleted. I can't cheat my Omekamon underneath my King Drazel. So
sad.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Those takes, or something. I've been seeing that recently, and I felt like I had to comment. However, we are now at the part of pod where we talk about, engines, generic engines. Are they good for the Digimon card game? And honestly, the history of generic engines in Digimon has kind of said no. Digimon is not a game that is made for generic engines. For one reason or another, typically the engines in this game are only ever used for draw. Not that there have been there haven't been other engines. And I would say probably in any card game, probably the better engines are the draw engines. Dan is going to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! In a bit, but let me define to you guys what an engine is. According to Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikia, an engine is a combination of cards that work well together, but contains too few cards to make a full deck, or in this case, we're not going to look at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Side. In the Digimon case, it's a combination of cards that work well together. If an engine focuses on raising consistency and draw power, it is called a draw engine. If it's focused on, for me on the Grand Archive side, if it's focused on adding in ping damage, being able to just deal direct damage, or even on the Gundam side, because they have cards that do the same sort of thing, deal direct damage to units or damage units, whatever, and you have a sort of a damage engine, or you have a little bit of an aggro engine or something along those lines. So Dan, for our Digimon audience, give me an example of some engines that you've seen over the course of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And why, how they ended up being engines rather than being their own decks in the first place.
Give me a second, let me think. All right, so I got it. This is the most recent. The most recent type of engines we have right now is what's called the Fiendsmith engine. So basically, it's a really, you can't really make a deck out of it fully because there's not enough of it, like it mentions in your definition of an engine. But man, it's so strong that a lot of those some of those cards got hit, and they're good to accelerate other play styles. So Fiendsmith Engine basically is a very grindy engine in the sense of you can create all off of one card, basically create a monster that has like multiple negates or whatever. Mind you, all these cards can also recur itself back to the deck, and you just reuse them over and over and over. So like every turn you keep overly using them to get to what you need to do, and it's very, very
so it's a resource engine.
Yes, for sure. And you can reuse everything you use from it. It's really cool in a sense of you can bridge different decks together into it. And so that's how you can like pop off. So for example, any deck that can make a card called Moonlight something. Oh my god, I imagine the picture. Hopefully Lucas just put up a picture of it. But this is a Link 2 monster that's a life fiend, and all you have to do is get into that, and then you go into the Link 1 Fiendsmith card. I forget what it's called right now. And then you just legit just pop off into that Fiend Engine combo. And do it that way. Sometimes you can go even the reverse and start with the Fiendsmith Engine and then go into your actual Dex engine and then go combo into that way. It's called for example, Ryzel Fiendsmith is Ryzel. So the whole point of it is it's super consistent because you have the consistency of the Ryzel side and then the Fiendsmith side. So it's a way to fade out like hand traps or stuff like that. So you can start off with the Fiendsmith Engine, you go into your combo, and then you get to the point of you can make a level 4 monster, whatever it is, and then you can get the search for the Ryzel side, and then you play to the 4, and mind you, it's all of like one normal summon. That's like 550. It's like a whole bunch of special summons off rip. And then you go into that and it bridges together, and then you combo off and you do stuff like that. That's more recent times for that. Another one is I don't know too much about it, but the Canine Engine is a thing now. Is a very strong hand trap type of engine where it can F up your opponent depending on like what they do and stuff. I don't know too much about that. Or previous engines like old school wise, if you think about stuff like what's called man, there's just so many of them. Like back in the day, Chaos, like you would just run like light and dark to get a Chaos package going. That's how you would make like BLS and stuff like that. Just different ways. There's so many different things, and especially Yu-Gi-Oh! Is easier to do than I think in Digimon because you're able to get generic stuff.
So in Grand Archive, we currently have an engine.
Hey, yo, Vardy, your mic changed. You just went like super loud and it changed.
What about now? Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Like super loud for no reason now. But like the background noise is not there.
I
don't hear background noise anymore.
All right, how about now?
I think you're good now.
Check 1 2 3. All right, cool. This is about 0109 15. All right, so in Grand Archive, we currently have an engine called the Spectre engine. So before I even talk about it, Dan, how busted of a card is Graceful Charity?
Ban worthy.
What does Graceful Charity do again? Draw 3, trash 2?
Draw 3, trash 2, yep.
All right, so in Grand Archive, to explain the concept of the game for those of you who don't know, basically your hand is your resource. You pay for cost using your hand. And then you have a material deck in which you pay for more cost using the cards you put down from your hand, and then you get your hand back. That is the TLDR. So We have a Spectre engine. It is effectively a 16-card engine made up of 4 cards. You play 4 of each card. 1 card is Graceful Charity on crack. It is draw 1, then discard 2, draw 2. You have to discard 1 or 2 to draw 1 or 2. So we have 3 of the cards, one of which just says Floating Memory, another one of which says Floating Memory and is what's known as a fast spell. So you can cast it at fast speed, and it basically gives a 1/1 stat line, so 1 power, 1 life. And then we have an additional card that says when your champion levels up, return this from grave to field. If you do, draw a card and it becomes ephemeral. Ephemeral means when it would leave play, it goes to banishment instead of grave, so you don't get to use it again. So if you can imagine the entire idea of the game is leveling up your champion, you now have an engine that says, all right, cool. I'm going to draw a card to replace this card that I played. I'm going to discard 2 of these cards from my hand to draw 2 more cards. And now when I go to level up my champion, instead of paying the cost from the cards I put down from my hand, I can use these cards that I put into my graveyard. And if I have this card in my graveyard, I can return it from my graveyard to my field, and I get to draw a card just for leveling up. So either you get to go neutral, +1, +2, +3, depending on how much you have in grave. Just for, kind of playing the game. So that is known as our draw engine currently. That is our big draw engine in Grand Archive. It is so busted that everybody's playing it. And of course, yes, it is currently in what we call Category 2, which means the devs are aware that it is such a problem that it might be banned after the next event, depending on how it performs and what other decks appear or don't appear in the meta. In Digimon, we have had many engines over the span of the game's life. And the big topic for basically any card game is, are engines healthy, right? This engine for Grand Archive, this engine is in a way that's, I'm going to say it this way, it is air quote healthy. It is healthy in the way that prior to this engine, level 3 strategies were few and far between because aggro decks were so rampant. Aggro decks can kill you quite literally on turn 3. It is entirely possible for them to kill you on turn 3, especially if they see the nuts. With this engine, you end up generating so much value in card draw, in card filter, and in leveling up that you now have a way to contest board because you get this body that comes back on the field to help you deal damage, and you generate card draw that you're not losing, so you're able to do things when you go into your level 2 and 3. That is just really good. But it is so good that everybody's using it. Because why wouldn't you? Why would you not play Graceful Charity? If Graceful Charity was at playsets in Yu-Gi-Oh! Why would you not play 3 Graceful Charity? It is a card that is just going to help you get deeper and deeper into your deck. To put it in perspective of why that is so busted, the best other card draw in the game that we had was this card called Lost in Thoughts, which is also banned. Lost in Thoughts read, banish any amount of cards with floating memory from your grave. For each card banished, draw a card. You could play a water mill strategy, which a lot of water decks were doing. Mill 5 floating memory, banish 5 of those, and draw 5 cards. You could also just use those cards that had floating memory because water has a lot of cards that are good. And now you get to draw more cards just for playing the cards that you played. That card is banned. So with that in mind, why was Ral the Abyss made? This is what it's called. Why is it not banned? And so when we come across to Digimon, right, we have seen many engines over the course of the game. And probably the most prevalent engines are Galaxy, or obviously now GrowlX, and one that's kind of fallen off the wayside, but is still a pretty prevalent engine, all things considered, Cerberus engine. And if we pull GrowlX away from the conversation and we look at just Galaxy and just Cerberus, people have called for both of their hits. People don't like when something lets you do something that gains you value when they don't feel that value was necessarily either intended or worked for. So if we look at Galaxy being the biggest example here, Galaxy's busted. Galaxy lets you go into any level 6 or 7 that is now what? Red, blue, yellow, or purple, right, Dan? Yeah, because all of those lets you go into any red, blue, yellow, or purple level 7 or red, blue, or purple level 6 for free because of how it works. And personally, I've always been a fan of engines because engines, they are ways to make certain cards and combos work that wouldn't necessarily have a better way. There are a lot of cards I love in Digimon that don't really fit into any modern deck, but because of engines, gives them a way to shine. You know, we saw a Titamon OG BT6 Titamon deck that was using the GrowlX. It was the GrowlX engine, right, Dan? GrowlX engine to do things. And I mean, hey, why wouldn't you? Because in a GrowlX deck, you can easily play, I don't know if this is what they were, but you can easily play Black War Growlmon, the BT5 mega that has the inheritable by deleting one of your other Digimon. You unsuspend this Digimon. So you can Digivolve Titamon, and then you get to play out the level 4 lore, and then you get to gain Sec +1 and something else. And then you can swing for 4 checks and then do something else with the other stack, blah, 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 whatever. It was really cool. I mean, it was even a way to just say, all right, cool, I'll just do 6 checks 1 turn because of Demonic Disaster. I don't know if that's what they played, but you know, when I think about it, that's what I think about. And I like that because realistically, outside of that, Dan, what the fuck are we playing Titamon in?
Nothing.
Because it's just irrelevant in today's game. But an engine like GrowlX makes Titamon not necessarily relevant per se, but it makes it better. It makes you think, all right, cool, I can do some cool things with this. If we take a look at the Purple Dog engine, you know, even they don't generate the value that GrowlX generates for a card like Titamon, because that's a native purple engine, but you don't necessarily care about doing the things that you're doing in Purple Dog engine with Titamon, because at that point, I mean, you can just play Anubismon and Leviamon, and I mean, that's basically what Leviamon deck is, right? Leviamon realistically isn't even a Leviamon tribal deck, so to say. It's a purple toolbox deck that plays Leviamon as its topic, because you can then pull Leviamons out and you can replace them with Lord Nightmon, and it works the exact same. You can pull Lord Nightmons out and play, I don't know, whatever fucking other bullshit that purple has, and you're still playing a purple toolbox engine. So the topic at hand is, with all the engines we've talked about, you know, engines have been a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Since its inception. It's a thing in every card game because that's just the way card games work. But with all the outrage that comes that every time a new engine pops up and these things are being played like out of context, so to say, are engines healthy for Digimon, Dan? What do you think?
So let me break it down from Yu-Gi-Oh aspect. Like I said, I was thinking about other engines while you were talking. Let's break some things down real quick. We had back in the day a rank 3 engine. Basically, it was free special summons to a special summon of a Terratop, Speedroid Terratop, whatever it was called, a special something else to XZ summon into a rank 3 whatever. At rank 3 was either like MX Saber Invoker, and that searched your deck, the piece you needed, and then you just pop off for stuff like that. Back in the day, do you know what happened to that engine?
Got hit.
It got hit. It was a plant engine, right? Which basically was your way to synchro summon dumb fast by getting Glow Bulb, getting like Lone Flower Blossom, yada yada yada, and so on. You know what happened to all that?
Got hit.
It got hit. Let me go into Dragon Rulers, right? Dragon Rulers was a deck, and Dragon Rulers worked as an engine to help other decks. Basically, what it was a free giant beast stick that you could get out by banishing either like the element or the dragon element. I mean, like type attribute. Oh my god, attribute. So like it was like water, fire, earth, and wind. So like each one had their own effects where it was like pop something, banish something, or whatever, and you special summon. And then you could either XZ summon with it or synchro summon with it, whatever, depending on the deck. Do you know what happened to all? Do you know what happened to all Dragon Rulers?
Let me guess. It got hit.
No, not just got hit. All 4 of them got banned for years, for decades almost, including the baby dragon rulers. They all got
That's crazy.
banned. Okay, and we're gonna keep going, right? Real quick, because again, I'm starting to remember. Also, I looked some of it up real quick, because I was like, I remember using those. Brilliant Fusion Engine. What that was, and this is where the term running a garnet in your deck. Basically, what that meant was you ran a card like a dead draw. It does absolutely nothing. It's a brick, basically. But you need to use it as part of your engine to pop off. So basically what it was is it's called Brilliant Fusion. And you would fusion summon a card called Gemini Seraphonite by fusion summoning from your deck using that Gemini Garnet and like something else. And you get another free normal summon. You know what happened to that engine? You're seeing a trend here.
Right.
It got banned. It got banned. All these engines eventually got banned because every single deck was able to abuse it in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's okay in the beginning until you realize that, especially older engines that are like never once per turn effects. So like the reason why let's bring it back to Digimon now. Reason why a lot of our older cards are starting to get banned because these cards aren't once per turn effects. These become a pseudo engines type cards, or all our memory gaining cards. That's like a whole running oh my god, the red card that just got banned. That just got hit.
Gravity Crush.
Gravity Crush. Gravity Crush is a mini small engine in itself. It's just free memory just cause you're running 4 of it. You're making space in your deck to run this card now in like those red decks, right? And so it got hit, right? And so everything else eventually gets hit. The thing is, when it comes to Digimon, it's hard to have generic engines because we're so color restricted. And so like those generic engines are only busted in that one color.
Right.
And so versus
that makes
Yu-Gi-Oh,
sense.
where like everything and anything could be used in anything, it doesn't matter what it is. And I still think it's still a problem to an extent for Digimon as well, because then those decks can just abuse that, and that color can abuse that engine, and it doesn't matter what other color you are, right? And so that's where the issue becomes for any engine we had, right? Galaxy is a archetype that's an engine basically, and that's a problem because that deck can just abuse things that shouldn't be abused. The only one I think is fair is Cerberus, which is weird because it's just a draw one, trash one the whole time you climb up. And I don't even think that's that bad, but that's really like you say, like we call the Cerberus package, right? But realistically, how many decks is really running it? It's only one deck, really.
Well, right, because
right?
it's
like,
purple toolbox as a deck with the engine and a interchangeable top end.
Right. And that's why that doesn't get hit, because it doesn't, like, that engine was never like that broken. Like, if that engine was broken, you would see it in every single purple deck versus only that purple style deck. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Compared to something like Growlmon, which is
where GrowlX is more, that engine is more abusable because one, it's multicolored, and two, the idea of how it works can be worked in other decks that's just kind of not like purple and red because of its unleashing effect, which then that's how Machine One is able to abuse it, right? And because it's dual colored, now it's red and purple that can, go above and beyond versus anything else.
So here's then the question, right? Where do we draw the line? Especially for a game like Digimon. If we pull Yu-Gi-Oh! And every other card game out of the equation, and we just look at Digimon for what it is, at its core, Digimon is a franchise where your Agumon, this cute little dinosaur, digivolves either into a piece of shit, a slime, or and I said piece of shit literally, like a literal piece of shit, a slime, another dinosaur. What else does Agumon digivolve into, Dan?
Whatever.
Right, exactly. Whatever.
Different types of dinosaurs.
And then the dinosaur that it digivolves into a fucking dinosaur, like a dinosaur cyborg fusion, because somebody experimented on it, I guess. Or it digivolves into another sort of dinosaur hybrid fusion, and then those things can then digivolve either into a fucking machine or this like humanoid fucking dragonkin, and then that thing can just digivolve into like, I don't know, a god.
God, yes.
So like, where do we draw the line? The game, and the one thing I appreciate about Digimon is how lore accurate everything is to anything. It's so cool seeing everything that we've grown up with and everything that we know about the game not have its identity taken away because it doesn't fit. They try to make it fit, and I love that. The training aspect for DM, super cool. It may not be, you know, the most relevant, but it's cool, and I love that. So because everything can digivolve into anything, where do we draw the line with generic engines? Digimon is not like Pokemon. Pokemon is, yes, my Pikachu digivolves, my Pikachu evolves into Raichu, or my Charmander evolves into a Charmeleon, which evolves into a Charizard. No. Yeah, we get Agumon that can somehow end up becoming, in some alternate universe, it could become a Metal Garurumon for all we know, you know? Like, that's just the way that Digimon works. And generic engines have their place both in terms of lore, but also like the use. And I feel like, to Dan's point, the one biggest problem is when, well, actually, I guess that's a twofold problem, right? Because you have the monocolor engines like Cerberus, but then you have a sort of dual color engine in GrowlX that is useful for both red decks, such as birds, and purple decks, or purple adjacent decks, like Machine Dramon, or sorry, no, you could use it in Machine Dramon if you wanted to, but also Millenniumon.
Yeah. Yep.
So like, you know, I personally, I remember this argument coming up on Reddit, be like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago or so. And at the time, the argument was, man, I hate that everything is archetype locked because, you know, I want to play this with that, or I want to do this combo. And now the argument is, man, I hate that these stuff isn't archetype locked because I can't do this with that and I can do this combo, right? So where is the fine line that should be drawn? Where do we say, all right, you know, this is what should be archetype locked and this is what should not, you know? And that's why personally, I think GrowlX with no Gravity Crush is a fair engine. I think Galaxy, I used to be on that line with Galaxy, but Galaxy digivolving into a free Omni X is insanity and should not be allowed. And with that in mind, I can't say that Galaxy should be allowed to do what it does because free Omni X's should not be a thing. Outside of Royal Knights, in which case you need to have played the game for what? At the point that you're getting a free Omni X, you're not really getting a free one because you're doing either an Omni turn, Royal Knights of the Purge got hit, so you get one free Omni X, so to say, or you're reducing the cost in which it's not free, it's just the reduced cost Omni X. Why does Galaxy get a free Omni X, right? Let's look at dogs, purple dogs, Cerberus. I've never had a problem with that engine. I hate that the best way to play Leviamon is by playing that engine, but there is a reason that the best way to play Leviamon is by that engine. The engine is really good. It's a neutral draw all the way up. It's filtering you. It gives you an extra body for your Leviamon, and it lets you see your pieces. Because I'll tell you from experience of, you know, fucking around with Lilithmon, the support that we have for some of these decks are ass. And probably Lilithmon, let's use her as the best example. I hate, I abhor playing this generic memory gaining draw engine in Lilithmon. That draw engine consists of Ogremon, Goblymon, and typically your draw card, like your Lady Devi. And I don't mind playing Lady Devi because I have Lady Devi X, but I hate having to fit Goblymon in my rookie space. And I hate that for full efficiency, I should probably fit some Ogremons in my champion line. I hate that. That's an engine. That's a value engine. I don't like that. But you kind of have to do it because if you don't, you're not generating enough value to keep turn. The deck isn't consistent enough, especially to pull off your combos. So the better way to play, I mean, that is the better way to play it. And I currently play like the janky, not good version of it, which is not playing those cards and only playing the cards that are like sort of archetypal. Because that's the way I like to play Digimon. I like playing Tsukaimon and Black Garomon and Boss Daemon and Lady Devimon. I don't like playing Goblymon and Ogremon, and I've always hated that in all of my decks, right? I don't like playing Ukomon and Red Hybrid. Takuya never met Ukomon.
About to say, we had a Uko package back in the day, right?
Right, Uko package. Takuya never met Ukomon. Why am I playing him in my Red Hybrid deck? But this is a trading card game, and there is like a balance of generic cards and archetypal cards. So then, like, where do we draw this line? Where do we draw this imaginary line?
I don't know, but I think Uko is a good generic engine because it's able everything could use it. Versus
everything. Well, I guess yeah.
That's my issue.
Okay.
Like, I think that's the issue with the GrowlX engine or even like the Cerberus package for the people that complain about that. I don't complain about it because I think it's fine, but because not everything can use it, that's the issue. Because it's color lock, it's color restricted. And I think Ukomon is fine, especially with the one of the promo being at 1, the Louis being at 1, and now it's just a searcher that's at 4 of. So basically, you're running 6 cards if you want to run a full Uko package in your deck. So Purple Highway runs a Uko package, right? That's a little bit of a mini engine that the deck runs.
To Dan's point, you know, Uko package was a package that got hit because Louis and promo Uko at 4 were
too good, too fast,
insane cracked value,
crazy amount of value.
It effectively was a. I can't even put into terms what that engine represented, right? Because promo Uko Raising was not only a memory gaining engine, but technically it was also a draw gaining engine because you can immediately digivolve a rookie. And Louis was the same thing, possibly twice, right? Like, insane 12 card package that if you were an aggro deck, or in the case of Numamon, both. Like it was probably, would you say that Numamon was possibly the ultimate mid-range deck?
Possibly, yeah. Because you could
possibly
just
the ultimate
board like crazy.
You can aggro them and then ruin mode and say, all right, cool. You can't even do anything about my aggro, right? Like insane value. And that's an engine that got hit for not even being too generic. It's just too powerful, right? And I think that should be the barometer for how we look at these engines. It's not necessarily how generic or how ungeneric it is, right? I don't think it's a problem for a color to have an engine that every deck in that color can use. Let's look at red decks, right? What red deck is popular right now? Growlmon?
And Red Hybrid is probably the 2 top.
And Red Hybrid isn't even popular. It's just, it's there. It's a good red deck, but it's not even popular. And there are, well, I guess Birds prior to the hit. So the engine made Birds relevant. GrowlX Engine made Birds relevant. Otherwise, it would have just went on being a non-factor because to the commenter's point earlier, the champion sucked ass. And this GrowlX that gives you a free body, especially when combo with Phoenix X, is really good. And now you get the Garuda X that even gives you even more value, right? So we had 2 good red decks in the format. And if you pull away the GrowlX deck, or the engine, I should say, you're still going to have Gallantmon, but obviously they hit Garuda X, so that deck is non-existent now. But we've now gone back to having just essentially 1 good red deck, and then there's Red Hybrid. If we look at the purple side of things, what purple deck is topping right now outside of Purple Hybrid?
Digimon.
Yes, Digimon. What deck outside of Purple Hybrid and Digimon? Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing really, that's right? It. And put in the Growlmon engine prior to the hit, it was Digimon, Purple Hybrid, and then your flavor of GrowlX. You know, you had let's take away Birds. Let's count that as a red deck. You had like just a straight GrowlX Rush. You had this like Titamon concoction. You had, I don't know, let's say like 1 to 2 other decks. And if you pull that engine away, we go back to just having, even if we consider that Machinedramon and Millenniumon play those engines and those decks don't top, right? Like maybe they might get the one odd top, but they don't top consistently. Now you pull that engine away and we're left with Purple Hybrid.
Currently, yeah.
So like, how busted is this engine really? I think when I think of engines that should be hit, like Galaxy is clearly a problem. It's not topping. But I don't think that, oh, the deck isn't topping is a reason that it shouldn't be hit. That's a fucking shit reason in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. Galaxy has proven in the past to be problematic, and that looks like something that should be hit, right? Or
how we forget about Levi not topping?
I guess it tops every so often, right? So it tops every so often. What engines in the past have we gotten hit, Dan? I guess
Eismon package.
Eismon package. Thank you. Perfect. The reason for Eismon hit was you're not going to play anything else.
Yeah.
No, not even a too much draw. It was just that if this card provokes you to not play any other card. And I mean, rightfully so, because what the fuck did we have? We still have nothing. That's why as a purple decks, we kind of suffer. I know purple decks have been like the bane of a lot of people's existence, but Eismon was good for a reason. It was a draw 3 trash 2. And if you did the Demi Mirror combo with the Goblinon, it was a draw 6 trash 4. Yes, that was really good. And now those cards are hit, and now decks don't play those engines. And the decks that don't play those engines are non-existent. So how good was the engine truly? It was good enough to make these decks not like broken, but it was good enough to make them relevant. And their reason for hitting Eismon really and truly was, well, Anubismon is abusing. Or sorry, not Anubismon. APOC. Well, you hit APOC. We could have, at the time, I don't know about now, but at the time, you could have brought Eismon back. Or Eismon Scatter Mode, let me rephrase. Not Eismon. Eismon was busted because the concept of a hard once per turn does not exist to Bandai in the Digimon card game. So like that needs to stay at 1. But Scatter Mode could have came back. So like my question for the audience, what I'll leave you guys with is, I know you have a lot of gripes with this engine, but do you really have gripes with this engine? Or do you have gripes with how fast this deck was killing you because it had Gravity Crush at 4? I really and truly think, and I could eat my words on this, and if you do, you guys can come back and feast on me in the comments in a couple months or even, you know, the next event, whatever. But I truly think that Growlmon X is I'm not saying it's entirely healthy. I acknowledge it can pose issues, especially for generic game design. But at the time, right now, based on everything that we have in the game and what it does for not only Machinedramon and Growlmon, but other decks that look to play a similar style or benefit from what the engine provides, that engine is fair, especially in comparison to something like Galaxy. And the the question I leave for you guys is, you know, how much problem do you actually have with this if this deck going into nationals in, what is it, Dan, like 2.5, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Going into nationals, if this engine doesn't do anything, if the only deck that you're seeing now really is Machinedramon, does it really deserve a hit? Does it really deserve GrowlX to be gone? At least right now, again, acknowledging that it can pose potential future problems. But right now, you know, we're worried about this metagame, not the future metagame, so to say, right now. Is GrowlX really that problematic?
Which we might have something quite problematic very, very.
In what?
Mal.
But okay, so is that a problem with the engine or the GrowlX engine, or is that a problem with cards that already exist in Mallow?
Yeah, it's just Mallow.
Okay, so right, that's not even a problem.
You can use the GrowlX engine, no problem, and just be free everything. Legit, everything free at that point.
Right, and that wouldn't be a problem with the GrowlX engine, because if you remove the GrowlX engine, the loop is still going to exist in just the cards that Myotismon has available. So again, is GrowlX the problem, or was Gravity Crush the problem? And that's my thing, right? For birds, I said this last pod and I'll say it again. My opponent on stream didn't use any Gravity Crush against me. I got killed on a fake scramble play, and even take that out of the equation. I was going to be put to 0 security that turn, which is nuts. So that Alphamon combo that it's capable of doing can still put you to 0 memory, but they didn't really abuse anything outside of like GrowlX. And GrowlX got hit. And we all acknowledge that GrowlX was a very powerful card. So now that obviously birds can't do that anymore, and the deck doesn't have access to Gravity Crush, the max that they can do, because they run red and purple, is to play 1 Gravity Crush and 1 what's it called? Jack Raid. You can, I guess, somehow shoe, if you're I don't know, you can shoe in some of the other memory gaining cards if it's really that important to you, but now you need to play the memory gaining cards. And guess what? Because these memory boost and training boosts are delay options, you can play floodgates against those. And yes, your opponent can pop them, but they now have to interact with you rather than like be able to do some shenanigans to try to get around you. You know, like Gazimon, right? If they digivolve, like sure, Gazimon would have shut off Gravity Crush before, but now they can just digivolve, pop you, and then pop the boost after. They can play the Gravity Crush after if they have it. I don't know. It just feels like there's more ways to interact with those cards not being at 4, especially if they're able to deal with it, or if they were able to deal with it prior. Now them being able to deal with it kind of slows them down just a touch, because they're not going to have that play extension. I see your face is looking kind of...
It's literally just Growlmon pops rookie. That's it.
Yes, I know.
Training Evo Growlmon for free, and then pop the blocker, and then you just pop off.
Yeah, but you have the cost reducing one, the Digi-Evolution, whatever one that I'm forgetting. Like you can play that too. That's what I mean, right? Like before it was just like, okay, well you have that, like I'll just Gravity Crush. And now it's like, all right, well they have to have both memory boost and training boost set up to be able to, you know, really kick off plays. And that's my whole point about having more interaction. So that's just my thing. I acknowledge that it can pose problems, but I think this engine as it currently stands is fine and fair. I can eat my words on that. Time will tell, for sure. And you guys can let me know in the comments down below. You know, you keep in mind everything Dan and I said about engines, especially in relation to Digimon and the idea of what this game provides. You know, we can't have a truly archetypal game because you have no freedom of expression at that point. Everybody then is just playing Greymon.deck with the same Greymon cards because these are the good Greymon cards. And the beauty of the game is being able to say, all right, well, I'm playing a Greymon deck, but I think I want to play like, I don't know, Cyber Dramon Ace just because I can. Or, I don't know, whatever other bullshit that you can play. We're restricted enough to our colors, but we're open enough because there are cards in every color and because these engines exist and they're always going to exist. Something's going to come out in the future and it's going to be this cool little, you know, 8, 12, 16 card package that you can put in the deck and it makes this deck work better. Like it's not going to not be a thing, but like, where do we draw that line? Where do you draw the line, audience? Let me know in the comments down below. But any parting words, Dan?
There's also the fish engine in blue.
There is the Huang-kun, and then any generic blue level 6 that you want.
Yeah, but it's not even just Huang-kun. You just do the whole Crab X, and then like.
Oh, you're talking about like Scuba Duke. Yeah.
Mega Seadrill. Yep.
Right, and so that's another engine, and you know nobody's complaining about that engine. And why is nobody complaining about that engine? Well, because it isn't doing anything right now. And does that mean that the engine is or isn't problematic? No. But if you keep that in mind, if there is an engine that is currently being played and is generally for the most part fair, right? Like Gino used that engine a lot. And he said the one biggest problem with it is its glass cannon. Like, yes, I get into Hexblower. Yes, I get into Gallant X. But if you remove my stack, like all I have is Scramble. That's it. And that's if I see Scramble. So GrowlX, yes, it gets you another body on deletion. And Rushgiamon should have been banned, but whatever. If you deal with the GrowlX stack, they're going to get another body. And yeah, sure, they can do that 4 times, but is that necessarily a problem? I mean, it's no different from just Scramble. right? Like if you have a Digimon and I don't, I get to play my Digimon. Now, if turn comes around with Scramble, I have a Digimon. I can't really pop my Scramble. Sure, I can get a card back from my trash, but I don't get the second part of the effect. You know, I really don't think engines are that problematic unless it's something like Galaxy where the value of it is so immense. And that's my point about Growlmon. The value is great, but the real kicker was the Gravity Crush or the Jack Raid even. Purple Hybrid. Is Purple Hybrid? Purple Hybrid's technically speaking an engine. It is technically speaking a 16 card engine. It is 8 Tamers and 8 Hybrids. Yes, it is a deck. And you can also, you know, I can try to play Balfamon or whatever other purple bullshit that I want to try to play with it. And the problem was not with the Purple Hybrid engine. It was with Jack Raid. And, well, at the time, sorry, it was a 20 card engine because of Matt. And Matt was banned. Jack Raid was hit. And here we are. Now the deck is fair. And it can't really, you know, use, abuse, and manipulate the way that it used to. So I think people should look at, personally, and again, last time I'll say, I can eat my words in the future, but I think people should look at GrowlX the same way that Purple Hybrid was looked at. In that regard, outside of Rushgiamon, because I agree, Rushgiamon should have been. But that's it. That's all I have to say. Let me know down in the comments how you feel below. That is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. So thank you guys for listening. If you like this episode, please do drop a like, subscribe so that you know when future videos come out. And don't forget to let us know your thoughts in the comments. Or if you're on Spotify, there are also comments on Spotify, so you can let us know there as well. Thank you guys for listening. And until we talk to you guys the next time, peace out.
Catch you on the next one.